Hello, everybody. This is DFS Chan coming to you here to talk about the League of Legends DFS slate. We have a four-gamer slate for tomorrow, January 24th. So it's very exciting. This is our first full LPL LCK hybrid four-game slate. So we're very excited about that. Um, I think some people were commenting on Twitter that I wish, this is the opening DFS slate for, the main GPP and so forth. I think we had a 10K GPP open up for the two-game LCK slate. So I wish, they had applied that kind of a prize pool for this slate, but, we're talking about DK's esports department, so we have high hopes. Hopefully, we'll get there one day. But I digress. I'll go into this four-game slate real quick. I did some research before, going live on this video. I have a pretty good feeling as to I think what's going to happen. So yeah, let's dive in. But before we do that, please hit the like button and subscribe to the TrueDFS channel. That's what keeps me going to keep making these videos like this. So thank you for that. So for LPL, we have four teams that are playing in their first game of the season of the spring split. We have Ninjas and Pajamas, favored at minus 700, going up against LGD at plus 425. And I'll go into the roster and kind of talk about, where the team's respective strengths are, weaknesses are, and so forth. But, I'm kind of speculating at this time because really this is their first game. I think the only data we have about them is based on their preseason tournament performance. But, preseason tournament, I mentioned this on the last video, it's not really a good data, so to speak, for two reasons. One is, these players really, it was their first time playing together competitively. And two, they sometimes played against, not LPL type of competition level opponents, but also LDL or even other independent teams they played against. So it's really not fair to compare these stats, side to side for these teams. But, I just wanted to kind of point that out. Some people talk about how, some stats are much better based on the preseason data, but I just don't think we're comparing apples to apples when it comes to that. The second matchup of the LPL is Ultra Prime versus Invictus Gaming. This, based on the Vegas odds, it's a toss up, pure toss up. Invictus Gaming is slightly favored, and I'll tell you why I agree with that. And I do think Invictus Gaming should pull this off, but I think Ultra Prime is definitely playable. Not only because they're a slight underdog, but also this matchup between Ultra Prime and Invictus Gaming is projected to have the highest kill upside in on this slate. So I think that's another reason to play Ultra Prime, in the main GPP if you want to. But I think that's one of the good options to play. And in the LCK, we have Fox Fear X versus Hanwha Life Esports. These odds are crazy though. Like I don't agree with the minus 1,000 odds for HLE, and I'll tell you a little bit. I'll tell you why in a little bit. HLE played against two really easy teams. I think DRX and then also I think it was Freddy Brian. I have my notes right here. Let's see. They played against DRX and then Guangdong Freaks. So, HLE stats are padded. Fox actually played fairly well against Freddy Brian or OK Bank Brian. In their second game of the week last week. Fox actually looked pretty decent. Willer, the jungler, looked pretty decent. So I'll go into further about that matchup later. And then the second matchup of the LCK is Guangdong Freaks that I just mentioned versus KT. KT looked like one of the best teams out there in the LCK last week, and they played against some good opponents. Like they played against D plus Kia and FearX, and KT won both of those series. So KT is very impressed. I'm very impressed with KT. KDF, Guangdong Freaks on the other side of this matchup. I'm not touching them at the moment. Taeyu, they even sent Taeyun back to the challengers level. He played last night or yesterday at that level, and then he's coming back up, I think, to play at AD carry for Guangdong Freaks, just given how poorly he performed last week for Guangdong Freaks. So I heavily favor KT here. I think KT should be favored at minus 1,000, like Hanwha Life Esports is. Whereas Hanwha Life Esports, I think that odd is a little bit juiced. I think it should be a little bit lower, but who am I to say that? So yeah, let's go into the LPL matchups. As you guys know, traditionally LPL matchups are higher in kill upside. So I just wanted to point that out. So now I'll take on some questions later. Here, I see some questions here. So let's see. First, NIP versus LGD. We see NIP, Ninjas in Pajamas, at top, Shanji at top, Aki at jungle, Rookie at mid, Photic and Joe in the bottom lane. I just want to say outright, that NIP played really, really well in the preseason tournament. I'm not putting a lot of emphasis on it for the reasons I said earlier in this video, but just this starting five looked pretty good. And Aki, to me, at least for me, in my opinion, is about the same skill level jungler as Meteor, the counterpart in LGD. I've been down on Aki a lot the last like 4 or 5 years, but last year he notched up his level of playing, and I really do think this meta favors Aki a lot. So I'm gonna go with Ninjas in Pajamas in that in the jungle control metric. That Aki, I think Aki has a superior skill set there compared to Meteor. And then in every other lane, I mean, Shanji over Birdall. Birdall's gonna, I mean, he's coming from LCK. I think he's gonna have some language issues with LGD right away. So I think that's gonna be trouble. But in terms of skills, yeah, I mean, Birdall is pretty, he's skilled enough to go up against Shanji, I think. But Shanji is Shanji. Like he can go, he can pop off, he can go off. And the fact that he is, playing with his old time jungler in Aki, I think he'll be just doing just fine. And Rookie, I told you about the preseason tournament. He was the best player by far for NIP in that Demacia Cup. I think he's gonna do really, really good job. I think he's gonna perform very well against Haichao. And in the bottom lane, Photic Duo definitely have an advantage over Kepler Jinzhao. Kepler looked absolutely horrendous in the preseason tournament. And I mean, he was really bad. Was it 2 years ago or last year? Maybe a little bit of last year when he did play. He didn't play very much last year. So I just wanted to point that out. But Photic Duo, I think definitely have an advantage there over Kepler Jinzhao, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with NIP here to win. I think the only win condition that LGD has is through Meteor. Meteor likes to play on the carry heavy champions, which I think could work maybe one of the games in the series. I like that since this is a best of 3 series in the LPL, I like NIP to pull this off. Now, in terms of the kill upside, I think the over total kills over under is set at 24.5. So, which is pretty good comparatively. That's the second highest kill upside match we have on this slate. Obviously, the 2 LPL matches have the higher kill upside compared to the LCK matches, but I just wanted to point that out. So I have NIP winning. Like I said, I think they have a better jungle, AD carry support, synergy there comparatively. And then we have Ultra Prime versus IG. this is an interesting one. Like I said, I think it's a toss-up. Both teams are pretty shit. Metrics are comparable all around. They're all really pretty bad. Some players even had some time off last season, not having played for a while. Like Yukai for Ultra Prime in the mid lane, didn't play for a while. Xiao Yuji, who is starting over on at 80 carry for Invictus Gaming, is an interesting case here. I do think he's not that terrible of a downgrade for On. I think IG just wants to try something new this year because IG just had a terrible, terrible downfall, toward the latter part of the season. I think they finished like 0-8 at some point, at one point in the season last season. So I think IG is trying something new here to get the season started off properly here, fast. So I think they're starting him here, but then there is a substitution risk here, right? Like I think On could come in if IG loses game one. I think that could definitely happen. So we'll see how that goes. But I think still, like I prefer Tianjin over Hacker. Their metrics from last season, respectively, Hacker played for FPX last season, but their metrics comparatively, like they're very comparable. I think Hacker was up by maybe like 10 EGPM over Tianjin, but then, like I said, IG just as a team, as a whole team struggled. And then FPX as well for Hacker. So like both teams were shit, and both junglers were not very good. So I just don't have any lean on this. But Tianjin actually played pretty well compared to Hacker, I think, in the Macias Cup preseason tournament. At least his metrics were a little slightly better than Hacker there. So I think just based on that preseason form, I'm gonna have to give an edge to a little bit, very very small lean on Tianjin. And then in the bottom lane is an interesting one. Like I said, On is not starting and Xiao Yuji is starting. Xiao Yuji had played okay in the LDL, but like I said, he took some time off as well. He did not play for a while either. So I think he played 2 games in the LPL last season, and then he just didn't play very much in the LDL. Is he gonna perform well with Wink? I don't know, but I know that he had played with Tianjin, their jungler, in the LDL level for a while. So I think the jungle 80 carry synergy is there. So I value that quite a bit. And compare that to Hacker and Doggo. Doggo was dog shit, like last year. We'll see if he improved. I that's why I have to give an edge to IG just based on that comparison there, for jungle 80 carry, and then support Wink's not bad. I mean, I think Wink's better than Jway. Um, so there's that. And then I think the kicker is Crying over Yukai. Like I said, Yukai didn't play well for a while. Crying has been pretty good, and I like the fact that the current meta favors players like Crying, where they like to be a little more passive. They don't have to make a lot of plays around the map where, given the current meta, jungle really needs to focus on the bottom lane, and the players in the mid lane and the top lane kind of need to, stand on their own, and just be, just hold down their own lanes respectively. So, and I think Crying can do that over Yukai for sure. Yukai doesn't really uh, pose a significant threat to Crying individually, I think. That's why I'm leaning IG. And then YSKM, I think, is much, much better than Decade. YSKM had a very promising season 2 seasons ago. Last season, that was very disappointing, but I know that he has potential. And like I said, Decade and Yukai do not pose significant threats to YSKM, and then Crying as well. So I'm gonna have to lean IG. But like I said earlier, this matchup between Ultra Prime and Invictus Gaming has the highest total kill upside. I think the Vegas odds over under for total kills is set at 26.5. So I just wanted to point that out. Both teams are playable. Both teams are shit. So Ultra Prime definitely has a shot here. So I would not mind playing Ultra Prime in the GPP contest as well. Now, since we're at 15-minute mark, I'll pause there. Some questions that I just got. Let's see. Zeekster said, hard to get 4-3 favorites with 80 carry and captain spot. What do you suggest as captains? And what spot do you drop down at? So, given the current meta, I think I said this on the previous videos, I prefer the 80 carries, obviously, at captain because they have the most kill upside. Given the jungler's involvement to initiate more team fights in the bottom lane. But lately, the last 4 or 5 days, the mid laners actually have outscored 80 carries. I think that I can go into details about why I think that happened or has been happening. And I think a big factor of that is the item changes. And also, like after the 10-15 minute mark, there's a lot more team fights, given a lot more objectives, not only at Dragon and all that, but also the communal buffs that now the teams are more valuing. So without going much further into details, I think mid laners obviously are good captain options. In terms of between jungle, top, and support, just given the types of champions that support players have been playing, support players actually have scored very, very well if their fellow 80 carry performs very well. So another way, if you think that your 80 carry player is going to perform well, it's going to drag on their support player as well to a pretty high point, total points. So I actually don't mind playing support if you cannot fit all the favorites the way that you want it. Now, I would definitely play the support player over the top laner, just given the lack of kill participation and the lack of kill share percentages for top laners on this meta. Now, in terms of the jungler, I would just look at it. Depends on the type of a jungler player that you're targeting or the team you're targeting. If you're a jungler, if you're targeting a jungler, I would look at their kill share percentage, maybe historically. Like I said, if you are playing, for instance, LGD, the biggest underdog in the LPL matchups, Meteor, like I said, he likes to play aggressive, kill-heavy champions. So if you are playing LGD, yeah, I would put a lot of emphasis on Meteor. Now, if I'm playing NIP, where Aki is playing, Aki has historically not been, associated with high kill share percentage. So I would not prioritize Aki. I would keep him. I would deprioritize Aki, and I would maybe start. I would maybe start Juo over Aki if that's the case. So it really depends on the type of a team you're talking about, but I would definitely look at the historic data on their kill share percentage on the junglers between jungler. If you're trying to choose between the jungler and the support position. So I hope that was helpful. Let's see. Let's go into the LCK real quick. I think it's a lot more straightforward. Like I said, I mentioned this earlier, but between FearX and HLE, Willer played really well for FearX, but that was really the only thing. I think the whole team played much better when Willer played better, obviously, as the jungler. But I think they're going up against a juggernaut in Hanwha Life. HLE really should win this matchup, but I don't agree with the odds at -1,000. HLE stats are padded, like I said, given their wins against DRX and then Guangdong Freaks, two of the worst teams in the LCK. So I think FearX definitely has a shot. I think they have a shot, not a high one, not a strong one, but they have a shot as an underdog. But I think HLE should still win. Now, in terms of the kill upside, this is the lowest kill upside matchup, so I would maybe even avoid playing Hanwha Life in your cash or GPP lineup. That's one strategy that I can recommend. Now, in terms of the CKPM, combined kills per minute, which sometimes most likely implies the kill upside, FearX has, I think, a 0.84 CKPM. So that can increase the kill upside for Hanwha Life. But still, we have these 3 other matches that I think are projected to have higher kills in those matchups. So HLE is an interesting one. I think they have, like I said, their stats are padded, and I think FearX definitely has a shot to upset HLE. But at the end of the day, for my match prediction, I'm gonna go with HLE to win. And the last matchup of the slate is Guangdong Freaks versus KT. Like I said, KT looks solid. They had very, very impressive wins against D+ Kia and FearX. KT's EGPMs, respectively, are superior, except for the mid lane and the top lane. But I still think Perfect looked really, really solid. I think there were 2 games in the series, 2 series last week, where he was struggling a little bit, but in those games where he won, where the team won, he like sheer domination right there for Perfect. So I really like Perfect, the rookie, for KT, to hold it down against Dudu. And Piosek has been playing out of his mind. So I really like KT here to win this matchup pretty easily. Like I said, KDF, Guangdong Freaks, has their own problems with their AD carry player, who was sent back down and then it came back up, and he's playing with the LCK team instead of the challenger team. So I think there's a lot going on for Guangdong Freaks, a lot of distractions, a lot of uncertainties. Whereas KT looked really good. I mean, they could obviously have a down game, trap game, and so forth, but I think given the experience in Piosik, Deft, and Barrel, which I emphasize a lot about, importance in jungle, AD carry support combo there, I think KT really should win this, especially in a best of 3 series against Guangdong Freaks. I don't think I'm gonna play any Guangdong Freaks tonight. I think I'm gonna play a lot of KT, hoping that this game can go off as well. Although I don't really see a lot of a really boom high kill upside in Piosik, Deft, and Barrel, because Deft and Barrel tend to play a little bit more conservatively and slow. But we'll see. But yeah, I definitely have KT winning this. They are probably my most certain match prediction that I'm going to go with. I think that's going to be one of my favorite bets that I will be posting on TrueDFS premium section of their website. So please feel free to join as a member, and you'll have access to my top plays and top stacks, and then also more detailed matchup analyses, and also my favorite bets that I think my record right now is at 12-5. So far so good early in the season. I know it's a long season. But yeah, just catch it while it's hot. And yeah, let's see if you guys have any other questions in the chat. I don't see any at the moment. But yeah, go check it out. For YouTube, hit the like button, please, and then subscribe to the channel. Until then, I wish you guys good luck. Hope you guys win and take it down. One of you guys take down the main GPP, and let's keep this momentum going. All right. Have a good one.